From one universe to another, let's talk for a bit about the VVU, or the Ville Ventures Universe, man. So, yeah, we're finally going to talk about the series premiere of Magonolia. For those who don't know, this is technically the kickoff to this big superhero universe, created by our colleague, I should say, Ancil Harris, right? Coming straight from Trinidad and Tobago, right? We were Well, pretty much last year we got like a sneak peek of upcoming titles. You know what I mean? And not just we're not talking about comic book titles, right? Because yeah, most of I should say, entirety of these characters that Answer's going to introduce are based off of his own comics. Some that were published, some that weren't, right? But yeah, we got a sneak peek of what to expect, and one of those shows was Magonolia, right? So we were like, all right, we waiting. 2020 is going to be the release, and finally we got it, right. And I'll just confess something here quickly. I was introduced to I was invited to a Zoom meeting where I got the chance to watch it exclusively. I would say though, I'm just glad I was able to watch it again, because it's available on the the GT channel, YouTube channel right now. So I was glad I was able to see it there, because I could kind of take in the audio and just the vocals a lot better than having it live stream basically. It was kind of hard to pick up on certain lines and whatnot, but here I got the chance to really hear everything, right? So Ricardo, you checked it out as well. I'll just do like a quick run through of it. I'll just mention things that I was impressed by, things that needed some tweaking, and I'm not gonna give like an overall rating right now, because it's just the series premiere, right? But I don't know, maybe when the full season's up, maybe I might just do a full thing, right? So what it centers on is the character of Magonolia, right? Who is played by first-timer Aliyah Ragunet Maharaj. She, well, pretty much she's a teenager, right? And she it's established early on that she gained these powers roughly 2 months after her mom died. And in this episode, it's just a matter of her just trying to figure out what to do with her powers, right? She gets the suit. She hooks up with her, I assume, if I'm wrong, let me know, her stepsister, Kimberly, played by Ariana Thomas. What I assume is that I was trying to pick up on exactly her relation to Magnolia's character, right? Not too sure there. Also, she runs into a hacker whose name is Rico. He's played by HD57. I know him in the local music scene, basically. And he basically just has knowledge of, all these alien occurrences in the Caribbean, basically, right? And then he mentions basically that how Magnolia was able to gain her powers is that potentially her mom hooked up with an alien, basically, right? And this isn't anything new in this universe here, right? So there's other characters out there that hopefully we're going to be introduced to one day that have that sort of human alien hybridness about them, right? So essentially, like I say, it's just her just learning about the powers. She has telekinesis. She could fly potentially, but she's not that good at it. But also too, we have we have a couple of ulterior threats, looming in the horizon, basically. The first one being Lelaine, who is played by Kalia Jagarat Mills. She is an alien as well. She's part of royalty, actually. So there's a few scenes involving her and the mom, and she's talking about, there's these agents, from our planet, or a similar planet, sorry, that's on Earth, and we're not too sure what they're up to. And her mom is like, let's forget about it, right? We have a ceremony to worry about. But she's like, no, something's up, and I need to go and check on it, right? And also, just like spoiling at the end, we introduce another character by the name of Visa Claw. We're not too sure what he's about. Actually, he doesn't speak English at all, right? But we're not too sure what his motives are at the moment right now. But yeah, there are these threats that eventually going to to rear their heads basically, and it's just a matter of how Magonolia is gonna rise to the occasion. So Ricardo, thoughts on the series premiere of Magonolia?
Yeah, it was good. As a premiere, I mean, is again, you need to give him a little bit of a budget, but it was all right. It
Yeah, yeah,
very
yeah.
reminiscent of these mid 90s, early 2000s, late 90s, sci-fi fantasy shows like that.
Yes, yes, yes.
Yeah,
Indeed.
reminiscent of, if you remember, Cleopatra 2525 or something like that.
You know,
It's that.
I've never seen that. For some reason, just
Right,
never got around to watching that. All
right.
right.
Or something like Mystic Knights of Tirnanog, shit like that, right?
Yeah,
It's
yeah,
just
yeah. I know about that. I know about that.
right. So it's all these live action things in a vein of a Power Rangers type thing. You have a weirdo sci-fi fantasy premise, and then you run with it in all the with all the usual tropes. My mommy was a this, and my dad was that, and or something like that, or a Game of Powers or a mystical crystal, or something like that, like whatever it is. And yeah, I dig it for what it is. I enjoyed it. I had fun with it. Acting was well is local acting, so I have nothing else to say about that. As usual. But it's fine. It's a good premiere, solid premiere for it is. Again, you just need a budget. That's the unfortunate part about all of this because everything just looking like, cut and paste from this thing and that, and yeah, it's just that. But yeah, I enjoy it for what it is.
Yeah, well, same here too.
Yeah,
I am truly impressed by the whole DIY approach to it,
yeah,
man.
yeah.
But it,
He stick with it. You can't say that
yeah, 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 yeah.
he he'd give up because he was promoted it for a hot minute. I was like, boy, when this thing coming out, boy? But I was
You
like,
know,
all right. But he
yeah,
eventually he finally get it out. Because the last time we saw him promoting it and thing when we went to Sawa,
right.
um, that was how long ago? When was that?
Yeah, well, that was last year. Like I said, that was around the same time when we talked about Ad Astra,
Right, Al
as well.
Ashra. Right.
Yeah,
So whenever Al Ashra came out, right? So it's that. And so it
I
was.
I,
It
I think it's
was
roughly a year, if I'm not
okay.
mistaken, like about
Right,
a year.
right,
Yeah,
right. Yeah. So you've actually say, I'd imagine that COVID would have slowed down productions a little bit, maybe. So something like that. But yeah, I yeah, I dug it for what it was again. He had no money. Somebody need to give him some money. Sadly. Um,
yeah.
and so
But
that
but
yeah.
but just to use that as a segue there, I think that with once the right eyeballs see it, and they
Right.
see the potential in it, that's when they could be like, okay, I could,
Yeah, yeah.
I could invest into this, and you'll see
Right.
things start to pick up, right?
I went.
So
I went to.
yeah,
I could. Yeah. Okay, I went to. I could easily see it like showing up on something like a TTT or something like that if you have a few episodes out. Because they just look for finished projects or kind of half finished projects, if anything. And this it feel like a pilot. That's what it is, right? It's that. They use the usual special effects stuff that you'll find well, not Premiere, the other one. Um,
After Effects, After Effects.
right. Yeah, there's a lot of After Effects stuff coming through, but it's still solid. Still good. It's a solid story. The acting okay. Everybody joking around, and you could tell they're not. Again, don't take itself too seriously as usual. You
Yeah,
take well, I should say take the material seriously. Don't take yourself too seriously. So it
right.
good. That's fine. He stick with the project. You can't say that he give up on it or anything like that. I think that's the most important part.
Yeah, yeah, I
Mhm.
agree. One thing that I really was impressed by was like I said, there's the DIY approach to things.
Right.
Like, so it's not like he's trying to do Avengers Endgame or Infinity War immediately, right? He's not gonna give you a bunch of explosions and this gigantic alien ships and whatnot, right? He's keeping things fairly small scale, but he's doing a bit of world building in the process as well, right? So I really dug like the stuff that took place on Capernaum. I believe that's the name of the planet right now. That involves the Laline character and the mom and all that. So,
Right.
oh yeah, points for mentioning King Razor. Okay, so Razor is like one of the comics that Answer released years ago, right? So before
Right.
this even came out. It's like, okay, oh, you little Easter egg thing. All right, I see you, right? Um, well, what really makes the show work is just it kind of just taps to that whole joy of being a hero, joy of figuring out that you have powers, right? Like, yes,
Right.
there's the uncertainty, there's the doubt, there's the people who kind of don't know if you what you're about, or if what you have right now can be used for good or bad. But in terms of Magnolia's case, it's just like, well, look, I want to do something worthwhile, Dread. I want
Right.
to, change the world. I want to do great things, right? So just seeing her just like, put on the suit and whatnot and, testing out her powers and, just the joy that's on her face too. I mean, it works, right? So it just kind of taps at that, inner child in us who's like, you know what? I want our powers too, you know what I mean? But,
Yeah.
you have to kind of learn the ropes as well too. So essentially, this is what the episode's about. This is learning the ropes, just kind of figuring things out, right? The acting is decent for what it is though. Everybody kind of brought their personality to their roles, and I really, really dug that as well. Um, I thought that the music was excellent as well. You know what I mean? Shout out to Pachenko for providing some of the music for this. I
Right.
know there was some other music involved, you know what I mean, like doing the end credits and whatnot. But they work as well in terms of just setting up this slightly grandiose vibe of the world of Magnolia, right? If I have a couple of gripes before I forget, I felt that, just a little overuse of autofocus at times. So, yeah, ever
Okay.
so often, like, you would just see the camera just kind of focus on the person's face mid conversation. It just kind of takes you out of it,
Right.
out
Right.
of the scene also. And then also, too, and I mean, this is just something that we just, as Trinis, just can't escape. Uh, Basically sound editing, like just the being able to cancel out certain sounds, but you just kind of have to have it there, but you cut it just to have a music bed play, and then stop bring back the vocals, basically.
Right.
So side spoiler, there's a moment involving Magnolia reading. Well, okay, so she's listening to some music, and then afterwards, swear to God, you're hearing the buying scrap iron old battery buying guy. Oh,
Right. Right. Right.
I was like, okay, but the story is set in 2025, Dread, so it kind of taking us back here to 2020 with that guy, right? So it's kind of weird.
No, no,
But,
it feels like
it's one of those.
it will have people like that still in 2025 in Trinidad. That guy not going away, so whatever.
Well, true, true, true. But
Yeah.
I don't know. Like, I just feel like it was just there, like, unintentionally. So it's just kind of like there,
Right.
like, okay,
They
well,
probably could have
maybe it
they
might be,
probably could
it
have
might
cut it
work.
out.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. And it was just like
Yes,
a
no, it's one of
simple
those.
little
No, that's
bit.
one of those things that I don't mind once your song mix it well, so it'll at least feel as if okay, there's something in the background. Living in Trinidad, so it's like yeah,
Yeah, yeah.
that thing.
Right.
I don't know. It's up to you to how you want to feel about that. Like, because clearly in some cases it's like clearly unintentional and they just didn't cut it out. And
Right.
they didn't have a good song person for it.
Yeah.
In
I
other
just,
cases, like,
yeah.
well, no, it's realism and verisimilitude. It's some real what do you call it by Italian neorealism shit going down, right? So
I
yeah,
know, but
yeah,
it's establishing that this is, in the near future, you know what I mean? But for all we know,
yeah,
yeah, that
5 years,
guy
it's fine.
still be doing his thing, right? And let's see,
Exactly. Five
shut his
years is
business
fine.
down.
It's not like it's 100 years in the future or something like that. It's 5 years.
Yeah, yeah, but
You can still have scrap iron.
yeah, but you could kind of like, I don't know. For some people, they might just think it's just a goof now, just something that was, left unfortunately, and it just show up in the
Right,
final product, right?
right,
Another
right.
thing is a little gripe. We in the future and we still rocking Samsung Galaxy S10s though.
That is 5 years. People will have phones. It have people with old shitty phone 5 years ago. Okay, people have shitty phone in 5 years. That's fine. Stuff like that don't bother me.
Okay, okay,
It's
okay.
fine.
I hear.
I ain't
This a
fighting that though. Yeah.
little thing, right? I do like, with just to segue into something else now. I do
Yeah.
like how they kind of play on the idea that, hey, these things that we have right now currently exist, but they're not as popular as all that. Case in point, the internet cafe scene, where
Right.
the owner, or at least the guy who worked there, had to say, yeah, people just come here and, use computers. People don't really do that anymore, but you can still come, I mean, it's just $10, right? So I really dug that. And also
Right.
like
Right.
the fact that, well, I think this is like the secret sauce to it making to for it working for me. Social media. That's the idea. Hey, you know what I mean? Look at what this great scene with Magnolia in her class, and her classmates are basically watching this video of something that she did last night, where she
Right. Right.
saved some kids from a car accident basically, and they watch it off their phone. And I was like, okay, that's cool. I mean, incorporating social media. I mean, building this buzz around this character, because I'd assume in a place like Trinidad and Tobago, technically that could be the only way something like this could, could be believable, in a sense, like, oh, we have a new hero. How do we know about this? It's not going to be immediately on the news, right? But hey, social media, right? Somebody shared it on Facebook and WhatsApp. There you go, right? And you build a buzz from there. So that was really cool. So yeah, I mean, overall, it's not trying to just establish this grand world. So we're not getting some big Game of Thrones thing where we have to establish all these planets and characters, all that kind of stuff. It keeps things fairly small scale, and basically it just kind of involves our hero just figuring her way out. And I dig that, right? So I can't wait to see what new characters, show up. And well, a certain character shows up near the end, and I would love to see Magonolia square off with that character. That's all I was saying.
Right.
But yeah, for what it's worth, I was really impressed by this though. But I really, really hope that more people see it. Like, I mean, more people, not just in the Trinidad, but also in the Caribbean as well too. Because I think this needs a wide audience. People need to see this and realize, hey, it is possible actually that we could make our own cinematic universe. I mean, it mightn't be as big as the MCU anytime soon, but hey, we could do it too. You know what I mean? So who knows? One day we might get to see a Jamaican superhero or a Grenadian superhero, right? Just as long as they have a solid story, you know what I mean? Decent to great acting, and just overall fun. You know what I mean? It's not like they're trying to be anything that they're trying to be this, big Hollywood thing, right? Just starting small but growing, basically. That's all I have to say. So yeah, if you guys haven't seen it, I'll put the link to it below. So yeah, definitely check it out. It's worth check it out, right? I would really, really see it. And I would love, be like, more up and coming filmmakers to kind of look at this and be like, hey, I mean, if we scrap some, money as well too, if we sell some, old scrap iron or something like that, then we have a budget, maybe we could make some great, films, and not have to wait on gatekeepers basically to say, yes, this is the time for you to do it. If you could do it, if you have the resources and you have the will and the drive, yeah, do it now. You know what I mean?